Welcome back, everybody. I've been away for about a week with my family, relaxing and kind of reflecting on everything. But I'm back now, and we've got a lot to talk about with regards to the Pro Tour Amsterdam, what transpired over there in that neck of the woods, and what we can learn about where the game is going. There's a lot of really exciting product and news types of things, but we're not going to touch on that until maybe next time. This time we're going to talk about the meta and how it stands, and well, there's one place we should start, and that's with Uzuri Switchblade. Look, here's the thing. Only 2 players brought Uzuri Switchblade to the table at the Pro Tour in Amsterdam, and one of them walked away with the big check. Congratulations to Shoma for absolutely just rinsing the top 8. Can we talk about how it wasn't even just like Shoma won the tournament? It was like Shoma showed up on Sunday and said, "This is my tournament. I'm the boss. You're just playing alongside of me," and just dog walked the competition, both in incredibly high level play, but also with just like Uzuri being almost a better hard counter than any other assassin could be. Like, Nu was considered the hard counter to Zen, which everyone expected Zen to, well, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people expected Zen to still be ruling the roost, the most represented hero at the Pro Tour, with everyone else playing second fiddle to him. He's still very good. There hasn't been enough time to actually dive in and try to solve these other matchups, so why not play what is still considered to be the best deck in format in Zen? And Nu was sort of considered to be the answer to that. I mean, leaving Nationals season, people looked at how Nu performed and the disruption that you could push onto a Zen and make them play a more pedestrian game plan, and that was thought to be the answer, like the level 1, if you will. If level 0 is play Zen, level 1 is play Nu, and then play something that counters, Nu to be the next step down. Interestingly enough, Uzuri's just like better. She just seems just better. But I will say, it's not just Uzuri, it's that you have to play it like Shoma. And, well, I mean, you look at the deck list. Let's just take a look at what he was playing in his deck list. I did try to parse out some of the cards that would more likely or not make your sideboard slots. But breaking it down, you've got the black deck, which, again, put on an absolute show over that top 8. If you didn't watch, the black deck had so much value across that top 8. It was absurd. Crown of Providence, a card that really has fallen off because of Balance of Justice. This really doesn't see as much play as it did over the past year, and it was used to great effect in the deck in the right moment. It shows that these older equipments that really had their time in the limelight and maybe took a step back when something new, gets printed, doesn't necessarily lose all of its luster. Yes, Balance of Justice became the biggest kind of play with regards to big, splashy, draw card style decks, the Brutes, and now Zen, and Art of Wars and things like that. This became the play, but Crown is just really good, and having 2 cards that are really good mean that players can have access to one or the other and just be able to play that. That's really cool. Flick Knives, of course, is the truth with the combo of a Flick Knives and where is it? There it is, Nerve Scalpel, so that you can make your defending, your opponents playing their defending and defense reaction, cards worse in general. So the simple combo of flicking your Nerve Scalpel in response to their defense reactions makes your attacks go through even easier. Tunic and Spider's Bite. Of course, we don't need to talk too much about that. As far as the deck construction is concerned, we're looking at a more aggressive version of Uzuri with looking for a scrap. This is, by the way, bolstered. This card is bolstered by the inclusion of more of these new stealth cards, particularly Bonds of Agony and Persuasive Prognosis. These 2 cards are just as good. I mean, Nu does great things with them, but just as good in Uzuri because they play off of her ability. Bonds of Agony now can represent 2 different styles of disruption. You can just play Bonds of Agony and trigger 3 attack reactions, and Shoma does a great job of including shreds here, that you can play both the red and the yellow, which I'm not sure if the red is always a main board card, but the yellow is always a main board card, could be either or. But Bonds of Agony now has play as just like the normal play 3 attack reactions, things like Just a Nick, Flicking a Knife, Black Tech Whispers all count. All of that counts as attack reactions to give the +3 and the effect. But you can also just feint like you're going to use that effect and then Uzuri in a big attack. So I think it's very cool to include something like Looking at Forest Scrap that plays better off of things like Persuasive Prognosis, Pick to Pieces, which is a great, by the way, sideboard card for Enigmas as well. Bonds of Agony. This deck probably better into Enigma as well in comparison to New. But you also have Hurl, which is an aggressive card, so not just Looking for a Scrap, but Hurl. Of course, E-Strike allows you that option as well to be more aggressive. And then you have all of your great, just standard cards for Assassin in general. Leave No Witnesses, Command and Conquer, Death Touch. Particularly Death Touch in this list is even easier to play into because you don't have to pay for it and you don't have to worry about playing it from Arsenal because you swap into it with Uzuri, and Codex of Frailty is a hell of a card. All of this is off of the back of your beautiful Isolate game plan in the late game if your opponent's trying to take you late game. It's just so cool to see this deck come together and to see it on display on stream, played just to perfection. So congratulations. And what does this mean for the meta? It means that Uzuri has the capacity to say, you know what, Zen? This is the game that we're playing. This is the pace that we're playing at. You have to play a more mid-range style or I will pick you to pieces. I will tear you open, right? And that means that Zen has to pivot in some way, shape, or form if she becomes more commonplace. Now, it could just be that one of just the greatest Uzuri Switchblade players sat down at the Pro Tour and said, I'm playing my hero, and then just dominated. It could be that's the case. If that's the case, Shoma, congratulations. You're one of the best, and you just showed that this is a hero that can overperform in the right hands. But if this is just indicative of where the hero sits in the meta, a lot of people weren't looking at it, and now a lot of eyes are on it. This could be another matchup that pushes Zen down a little bit in favor of other heroes coming up. And that could be very cool because if that's the case, then there's a lot more space. If Zen comes down, there's a lot more space for other things to happen. We already saw Prism trying to climb up. We already saw New sort of establishing that foothold. And Riptides of the world trying to make their way in. Kano doing pretty well, but not quite cutting it. So if Zen goes down, other things have the capacity to come up, and Uzuri could help that process along. So I'm very curious. Let me know in a comment if you believe that to be the case or if not. But Zen was not outclassed the entire time because Charles Dunn picked up the calling on Zen. With this list, a couple of things that are important to note. That All You Got being played in Zen, that was something that was not even considered originally. It was not even on the docket. And yet, That All You Got was not just in Charles's list. It was in several Zen lists this past weekend. It was a reaction to New rising up so that you can play this more mid-range game plan, one that is trying to weather the storm of fatigue or weather the storm of disruption that an assassin might bring to you so that you can find your combo and play out this large game plan. And it's cool to see the very thing that was described in the ban and restricted announcement, or I guess it's ban and suspended, ban and restricted, one of the two. The very thing that the devs described in that as Zen moved from this pure aggro list to, as they were testing, moved to a more mid-range package to try and weather the storm of New as New got better, that is actually taking place with these types of lists. Of course, this is all predicated on less Bonds of Ancestry being in the deck. So if Bonds comes out, you have more space, and you're almost forced into a more of a mid-range plan with things like That All You Got. Also, Sink Below's making it. I saw a lot of people, and I'm not sure, it doesn't look like it's in this one, but I saw a lot of people playing the Flick Flax as well. Some people were splashing in wax ons, which is cool, or was it wax off? I can't recall. Either way, they were splashing those in. Descendant Gust Wave, excuse me, combining those words, is only a 2 of in the blue slot, because if you're dropping your bonds numbers, then dropping your descendant numbers is sort of the next thing that you might do. And of course, we have some splash cards in here. Blanche, which is a great card into the mirror. Weakest Link, which is a great card into the mirror. And this is the coolest card that I've seen included, which this card always stuck out to me, and no one ever did anything with it. And I just thought, okay, maybe I'm just bad at the game. And that could still be the case, and I could still be bad at the game. But First Tenet of Chi Moon is one of those fantastic little inclusions as a one of that just gives you so much extra, because it costs you nothing. It blocks for 3. It's a blue to transcend off of. It's a go again. It is a non-attack, so it does break the chain, but you start with the, this in at the beginning of the turn anyway, right? Because it's your next blue attack this turn draws you a card when this attacks, so it replaces itself. It's just kind of an interesting inclusion off of like the back of needing more blues or wanting more blues and wanting transcend targets. People are shifting back to wind chakras, which came out of the deck for a little while. Winds of Eternity made the list, which makes sense with more 100 winds, or I guess the same number, but more emphasis perhaps being placed on 100 winds now that you don't have the easy bonds targets. Chase the Tail is really, really good, and people are starting to play with Chase the Tail a little bit more in the sense of like, this is how I can use it, this is how I can feint it, this is how I can abuse it. And blue spinning wheel kicks, which was not in just about any list that I saw floating around. I think that's a really cool inclusion. So huge shout out to Charles Dunn for picking it up on Zen. He was one of the Zen players that really took it to the house, and in this case did so on the weekend. But Zen was very close to winning one other tournament, which was of course picked up by Kano. Let's go. Alex Vore picked up Kano wins in Living Legend format. This is, I think, the most exciting thing. And it's because I'm a Kano fan. It's because I'm a Kano player. But the fact that he picked up Living Legend points and I shouldn't even say Living Legend points. He picked up a win in the Living Legend format is so freaking exciting. The Living Legend format, by the way, I'm going to probably make an entire video just on the Living Legend format that we saw this past weekend and the state that it's in right now. But it seems really, really good based on the changes that they made. And I'm really pumped to see where it goes. By the way, if you didn't know, Living Legend format tournament, there's going to be a calling run by, like in Chicago, by Min-Max Games. By the way, Min-Max Games sponsors the channel. You can buy all of the cards you need to build any of these decks. All $470 of this deck can be built on Min-Max Games, and they're going to host the Living Legend calling in Chicago in December, which I will be at. So shout out to them. But Alex Vore picks it up on Kano, and how does he do it? Well, I mean, you take a look at the list, and it looks pure stock standard. I mean, I actually looked at it. This is like, I don't know, like 5 cards off what many players were playing at like US Nats, including myself. Like one less Oasis Respite than I was playing. Took out both of the Sonic Booms, which is just the right call, I think. Nourishing Emptiness, that's a check. The Fate for Scenes and the Sink Belows. I think just the Fates and the Sinks right there. So maxed out on those. And one less Potion of Deja Vu. Of course, we are in Living Legend format, meaning that Warmonger's Diplomacy is suspended or only allowed to play 1 copy within your deck. And that's kind of a big deal, so there is the 1 copy there. But outside of that, it's basically just Kano, which is so cool. Like that you can be a really, really good player on your deck like Alex Vore is. Go into the Living Legend format and win. I mean, honestly, it's just worth looking. Here, maybe I'll go pull it up. Here we go. This is the blog post, by the way. Just look at the format. Look at what was in the top 8. We had Prism, Starvo, Alex Vore there in the 7th seed on Kano. We had an Oldham. We had an Icelander. we had a chain, we had again the rearing their ugly head, and Nova Chan, by the way, shout out Team Blue Pitch. But there's Zen showing up in yet another format, and one more copy of OG Prism. But like, that is a very diverse and very powerful set of heroes. I also want to point out, I love that Icelander was able to make her way back into the format in a way that's really meaningful, like making a top 8. So I think that is incredibly, incredibly cool. And yes, this, like, I don't know. Alex, if you watch these videos, tell me in a comment below how you won this matchup. Like, how did this go for you? Winning against OG Prism on Kano. Like, I've gotten close like once. So congratulations to you for picking it up. Congratulations to all the winners and all the players. It is incredibly, incredibly cool to see all of these results. And I will say, it's cool to see how good one player can be on a hero and what that could mean for their hero in a tournament. We saw it with Kano, of course with Zen, and then most importantly with Uzuri. So what are your thoughts from this past weekend over the course of all 3 days? Did you watch the coverage? Did you enjoy Pro Tour Amsterdam? Did you travel? Let me know in a comment below. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad that we made the number go slightly higher. And if you want to press the like button and hit subscribe, I wouldn't hate you for it. I wouldn't. I promise. As always, thanks for watching.